All right, welcome back to our deep dive into the 12 principles of project management. Today, we're jumping into principle number 4, focus on value. And let me tell you, this isn't just some corporate buzzword. No, this is one of the most powerful, game-changing mindset shifts in modern project management, and it's absolutely critical for your 2026 PMP exam. We're going to talk all about moving past just doing the work and making sure the work we do actually matters.
And right off the bat, this slide nails the entire concept. The old way of thinking, it was all about output. You know the questions, did we finish on time? Did we stay in budget? But the new mindset, the one we're talking about today, is all about the outcome. The question completely changes. Now we ask, did we deliver real, measurable results to the business? Do we actually make a difference? Think about it. It's the difference between just building a bridge and actually getting people safely across a river. Huge difference.
So yeah, let's really hammer this point home. We are talking about a fundamental mindset shift. It's totally redefining what project success even looks like. And just to show you how fundamental this is, especially for the PMP exam, I want you to look at this one single number. 26%. Just let that sink in for a second. What do you think that number is? It's not a budget overrun, it's not a schedule slip. This number, well, this is the key to understanding just how much this principle matters for your PMP certification. That 26%, that's the new weighting of the business environment domain on the PMP exam. And guess what drives this entire domain? Benefits realization. Focusing on the outcome over the output, making strategic, value-based decisions. The PMI mindset has officially shifted, folks. It's moved from just completing projects to realizing true business value. So this principle isn't just a side note in a textbook, it's literally over a quarter of your entire exam. Okay, so now you get why it's so critical, especially for the exam. So let's really deconstruct what focus on value actually means. We're going to break down the official principle and see what it looks like out in the wild. The principle itself sounds deceptively simple, right? Focus on value. But wow, the depth behind those 3 little words is immense. It means that every single thing on your project, every decision, every deliverable, every daily task has to be constantly measured against the actual value it creates. We're moving way beyond just time, cost, and scope to ask a much more powerful question. Is this truly worthwhile? And here's a super important point. Value isn't a one-size-fits-all idea. It's completely contextual. I mean, think about it. In the private sector, value usually means financial return, profit, maybe market share. But in the public sector, it could be something totally different, like a societal benefit or making sure taxpayer money is used efficiently. So really, your first job as a project manager is to get crystal clear on what value even means for your specific project and your organization. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we build this focus on value into the very DNA of our projects? Well, it boils down to a continuous cycle, kind of like an engine that keeps driving value delivery from the very beginning to the very end. Let's take a look at its 4 key parts. So this engine is running all the time throughout the whole project. It all starts with definition, where you're figuring out, okay, what value are we even trying to achieve here? That's usually in your business case. Then you move to prioritization, where you rank the work based on what's going to deliver the most value the soonest. Next, and this one is so key, is continuous validation. You're constantly checking in. Are we still on track to deliver that value we promised? And finally, there's optimization, where you're making those smart trade-offs to protect and maximize the most important outcomes. Theory is great, right? But let's get practical. How do you take all this and actually put it into practice on Monday morning at your job? We're about to dive into an actionable checklist you can use on any project. Okay, here are your marching orders. First up, start smart. This means you need to become absolutely obsessed with the business case. Don't just read it, live it, breathe it. In every single kickoff meeting, you should be connecting the project tasks directly to those big picture business goals. Second, maintain a value-based backlog. And this isn't just for agile projects, by the way. Whether you have a task list or a formal backlog, every item needs to be prioritized not by who screamed the loudest, but by which one delivers the most bang for the buck. Third, you need a new mantra. This is the crucial question. Before you approve any change, any new feature, any scope adjustment, you have to ask, how does this tangibly increase the value we're delivering? If the answer is kind of fuzzy, the answer is probably no. And finally, you gotta practice ruthless editing. Look, projects change, markets shift. That feature that was critical 6 months ago, it might be totally irrelevant today.
You need to be the leader with the courage to say, you know what, we need to cut this to protect the overall value of the project.
All right, PMP candidates, listen up. This section is just for you. Knowing the principle is one thing, but mastering those tricky situational questions on the exam, that's a whole other ballgame. Let's talk about how to spot the common traps and pick the right answer every single time. On the exam, the wrong answers, the distractors, they often represent these classic project management mistakes. Take gold plating, for example, adding extra unrequested features. Look at the target diagram here. It's way off from the bullseye of value. Other distractors you'll see are things like rigid scope adherence, that's sticking to the plan no matter what, even when the business needs have changed, and only measuring success by time and budget. These are all huge red flags for an output-focused mindset, not the outcome-focused one you need. So when you're staring down a tough situational question about a change request or maybe some competing priorities, what do you do first? You need a framework, a go-to process, and here it is. Step 1, always go back to the source. Consult that business case to remember the original value proposition. Step 2, review the benefits management plan to see how that value is supposed to be measured. Step 3, perform a quick gap analysis to see if you're still aligned with those goals. And then, and only then, Step 4, make the decision that maximizes the overall value. This visual pulls it all together perfectly into what I call the value decision cascade. You need to burn this flowchart into your brain. When you're in doubt on the exam, just follow these steps. And please pay close attention to that pro tip at the bottom. The correct answer almost always favors focusing on value over strictly sticking to an outdated plan. Remember that value is king. So let's bring it all home. Why does this matter so much? Because focusing on value is the ultimate differentiator. It's what elevates you from being a taskmaster, just checking boxes, to being a true strategic leader who delivers results that people actually care about. You become the person who can take all that project chaos and focus it into a single, powerful arrow of impact. So the question I want to leave you with is this. On your current project, are you just building an output, or are you delivering a truly valuable outcome? Coming up next, we're going to dive into principle number 5, and it's all about seeing your project as a complex system of interconnected parts. So if this deep dive helped you out, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and definitely turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode of our 2026 PMP series. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in episode 5.
Learning Reinforcement, Mastering PMP Principle 4, the Value-Driven Algorithm.
Imagine constructing a flawless scale model. Measurements are exact, materials are premium, but placed on an unstable foundation, the entire structure collapses. This mirrors a pervasive paradox in modern project management. Teams routinely deliver projects that hit every technical milestone measured by the traditional triple constraint: scope, schedule, and cost. Relying exclusively on this legacy standard today guarantees failure, because it assumes delivering an output is the exact same thing as delivering a solution. As this graphic states, the modern framework demands a different approach. Principle number 4 of the PMI standard is verbatim: focus on value. The required metric for success has shifted from project completion to benefits realization. This standard evaluates every decision and deliverable by the actual outcome it generates for the organization. Executing a plan precisely to scope holds zero weight if the final product fails to translate into a measurable business outcome. You must deliver results that actually matter. This diagram highlights the immediate stakes for the 2026 PMP exam. The business environment domain now commands a massive 26% of your total score. You will be tested on this domain through highly ambiguous scenarios. Expect complex resource conflicts, unexpected change requests, and difficult trade-offs. To navigate these scenarios correctly, you must recognize that value is not a universal fixed constant. It is a highly subjective variable, dictated entirely by the specific organizational environment you operate in. In the private sector, organizations calculate this metric strictly through financial returns. Value means increasing profit margins, capturing market share, or securing a definitive competitive advantage. Conversely, public sector organizations measure value through societal benefit. Success means improving public services, ensuring strict regulatory compliance, and efficient use of taxpayer money. A project manager cannot accurately develop a schedule or allocate a budget until they explicitly define the localized, context-specific value metric for their project. Moving value from an abstract concept to an actionable workflow requires a specific methodology. We use a 4-part framework known as the value lifecycle. The process begins in Quadrant 1, value definition. You establish this by extracting it from the business case and benefits management plan. The framework then moves to Phase 2, value prioritization. Here, you mathematically rank features based on their expected business return. You execute this ranking using established frameworks. Methods like Moscow prioritization or direct return on investment scoring allow you to sort deliverables objectively, rather than by stakeholder preference. This creates a value-based backlog. It functions as an operational shield, ensuring your development team focuses exclusively on the highest return items first. Failing to rigorously rank your tasks by their business return strips you of strategic control, effectively downgrading your role to a mere task administrator. The life cycle continues in Quadrant 3 with continuous validation. Waiting until project closure to check if you achieved success guarantees blind spots and wasted resources. Instead, you must establish a strict cadence of milestone reviews. These regular audits ensure the project's trajectory aligns with expected value. Finally, the framework concludes with value optimization. This is the active process of making calculated sacrifices to protect core objectives. When resources inevitably tighten or timelines compress, you have a responsibility to ruthlessly cut low-value features to preserve the critical deliverables. Before approving any change request, you must halt the process and ask one definitive question: does this addition actually deliver measurable value? Protecting the highest value outcomes is your paramount responsibility. You secure the project's return on investment, even if that requires intentionally shrinking the originally approved scope. The PMP exam often weaponizes traditional management instincts against you. It presents highly plausible incorrect answers, known as exam distractors. The first distractor is gold plating. This occurs when a team adds unrequested features because they seem useful. Rather than helping, this unauthorized extra output explicitly degrades project value by consuming unapproved time and resources. This diagram illustrates the danger of blindly executing the original plan after fluctuating external factors have altered the underlying business reality. A third common distractor involves change requests. Processing change control in an administrative vacuum without actively referencing the overarching business case will lead you to approve scope that no longer serves the organization. Finally, beware of any option that measures success solely through strict compliance to the baseline schedule and budget. Sticking to a baseline that has become disconnected from the organization's current strategic goals is not good management. It is a dereliction of your duty to deliver results. To cut through the ambiguity of situational, what should the project manager do first questions, we use a strict 4-step decision algorithm. As this flowchart shows, the sequence begins at Node 1. Step 1, consult the business case to locate the expected value. Step 2, review the benefits management plan for the precise metrics. Step 3, perform a gap analysis, comparing current trajectory and intended outcomes. Step 4, execute the decision, maximizing overall value delivery. Adhering strictly to this operational hierarchy replaces guesswork with logic, allowing you to systematically eliminate distractor options and isolate the correct exam answer. This brings us to the ultimate heuristic rule for the 2026 exam format. Value optimization must always override strict requirements adherence. Prioritizing outcomes over outputs is the definitive trait that truly separates adequate task administrators from elite project leaders. If this breakdown clarified the PMI mindset for you, hit the like button and subscribe. Turn on notifications to catch the rest of this strategy series. In Episode 5, we will explore projects as complex networks by breaking down principle number 5. Recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interactions. Internalize this shift toward value delivery. Evaluating decisions by their business return rather than technical compliance makes the exam's internal logic consistently predictable.